Hello, welcome back to Meta Perfume. I am Emily here with Felix. This dog, I don't know, Twixie went somewhere. This dog got banned from the groomers this week. Oh, it's been a stressful week. His dog is 18 years old and he is a Bichon, so his fur grows around his booty, and then he gets poo-poo on his booty, and then he will not let me groom him. So for a while, he was good with the groomers grooming him. I couldn't touch him, so I had to wait if he got dirty butt and wait till I could get into the groomers and spend the $100+ to get him groomed. But then he decided to go crazy on the groomers, so they banned him and they wouldn't do it. They made me pick him up without getting groomed, and he had this doggy smile on his face like, ha ha, I won. And I was crying. It was traumatic, but we have to go to the vet to get a sedated groom this coming week. Oh, money, money, money. Ugh. Anyway, so sorry, Versace. I'm gonna review Versace's Bright Crystal Absolu. We'll see. Can't even see it. Goodness. What do I do? Here. Versace's Bright Crystal Absolu. There we go. This one versus the regular Bright Crystal. Regular Bright Crystal I have here. So, yes, I've been spending some time with these. The name of the game on these is peony and yuzu. That's what I get primarily. Peony and yuzu and some other notes. Those other notes happen to be, we'll go with the Bright Crystal main version first. There in the top, yuzu, pomegranate, and water notes. And in the middle, peony, lotus, and magnolia. And then in the base, musk, mahogany, and amber. But really, the peony and the yuzu come through the most, I think, for these. Now, the Bright Crystal Absolu has exactly the same notes with one extra note in the heart, and that is raspberry. So, as you can imagine, with almost exactly the same note profile, these are almost exactly the same scent, but there are some differences. We'll talk about them. I got this one first, and I only have the dabber, so the mini. So it's a little harder, excuse me. I just ate coffee and donuts, and I'm like, never drink caffeinated coffee because it's just too much for me. I drink decaf. I didn't have decaf, so I'm a little bit caffeinated. Oh, yeah. Anyway, this Bright Crystal is so floral, and with this fruit, this yuzu and pomegranate, that's unique, unusual, but I think this has been a popular fragrance, so it's not like hard to find. It's also got this greenness, maybe from the water notes in the opening, just in the opening though, that comes through. Like, it smells a little bit like like a garden, like the earth or soil or the stems of the plant, not the flower necessarily, so it's kind of a nice thing. And on one application I got a little bit of mint like scent, although there's not mint in it. It sort of smelled like that to me for a second, but just a touch. So that happens in the opening, a little earthiness, but mostly that peony steals the show. And then the yuzu just kind of like sweetens it up. It's very feminine, very sweet, but not like gourmandy sweet, but like florally sweet, like sweet florals from the peony and the magnolia. And then the lotus and the water notes, I think, give it that like greenness in the opening. That's kind of nice. Now, I think this is like a consummate spring perfume. I don't think it's strong enough to stand up to cold weather. It kind of disappears, it'd get lost, kind of waste it in the cold weather, probably below 60 degrees. And in the hot weather, I think it's cloying. I think the yuzu becomes too much and it's too sweet in the hot weather. So above like 80, 75 or 80. Yeah, 75 maybe even. So spring temperatures, like 60 to 75, I think this is the best for. And you could do it in this fall as well, you know, when it cools down after the summer, but it's such a spring character that there's not like that fall feeling to it, that even though you get away with it from a scent perspective, or from a just kind of like the way that performance happens perspective, from a scent perspective, you'd be like throwback to fall, or throwback to spring in the fall. It's very springy. So yeah, my main like gripe about this was like, could not wear it in the hot weather. It was just like too much yuzu, I think. Now I just got this Bright Crystal Absolu. So that's Bright Crystal. Oh, and the longevity on this one, not good. It's not good. It's like 2.5 to 3.5 hours, I think. And granted, I have a dabber, so it's not necessarily as easy to spray a lot, but if I sprayed more, I think I would just be like choked out by it. So I think I'm getting enough on there to know that the longevity is like 2.5 to 3.5 hours, not so good. This one, however, our Bright Crystal Absolu, has gotten better reviews, better feedback, and I understand why. It's very, very similar in terms of the scent profile. I think what the raspberry in the heart does is give it just a little bit more lightness somehow, and dials the yuzu back just enough so that it's less kind of heavy on the yuzu, less cloying because of the yuzu. And I think it could go into a little bit warmer weather, like in the low 80s probably, before it got to be too much. The greenness of the opening is a little bit less pronounced, I think, but just slightly. These are just shades of like difference. Slightly less pronounced greenness in the opening. And the raspberry, I don't necessarily get, like, I can't really pull it out. I wouldn't say, oh, there's raspberry in this now, but I think it does have the effect of lightening the composition up a little bit, and, you know, pulling the yuzu down just a little bit to make it a little bit nicer and more bearable long term. Anyway, so the longevity of this one, however, is much better. So I'm not sure if that was because of the raspberry or if they did other tricks with this one. But I definitely smelled this for several hours after the Bright Crystal had worn off. So the Bright Crystal Absolu wins by, you know, I'd say 5 to 6 hours I got out of this. So several hours longer than the regular, which means, honestly, I think there is no reason to have the original Bright Crystal in your collection if you can have this Bright Crystal Absolu, because of the scent profile being so similar, longevity being quite a bit better, and the lightness of it just being a little bit more amenable to like a greater range of temperatures. Both still very springy, both still very feminine. I think of like a Vestal Virgin. I think it would be good for young people because of kind of the sweetness of the flowers. It's an unusual fruity floral, not kind of the typical, because of the yuzu and pomegranate being unusual fruits to put into a fragrance. So yeah, that's my take on the Bright Crystal Absolu versus Versace Bright Crystal. Just got the winner. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you in my next video where I review some other Versace fragrance next time. Hope you all have a great one. Take care, and please subscribe and like. Thanks. Bye-bye.